I'll wait for a few people to get on. I do have a lot of work on my plate, but I was guided to do the Cancer video. Now, obviously I was going to start in a few days, but I've been guided to do this video for some reason because there was energy coming through with it. Now, you do have some interesting energy coming through, and it feels as though okay, a lot of January was very much we were in the dark about situations, and moving into February with all the eclipses, what we've found is there's very heavy energy. So a lot of us are really feeling like we're in a vice. There's been a lot of purging going on, and there's an unresolved issue that has been, it's something you've been going over and over and over and over again. Now, some of you might be having issues in your rib cage. It's like it's a sense where you're breathing and you're sort of sighing and you're really frustrated about something, and it's like it's really nagging at you. You're thinking on it, Jan, and you're getting to a point. Very funny, cheeky. I should say cheeky bitch. Have a bourbon without me. How dare you? While I'm stuck in protein shake land. You're feeling the energy of January, and there was kind of like a stagnation, a bit like we were in the eye of the storm. And then we've moved into February, and there's been mass purging. It's almost like every person has been feeling this, and I can relate to this because I've physically been going through it. On top of every client I've had has been going through an aspect of mass purging, some more grounded than others, some further along in their life path and journey. Ultimately speaking, all of us are dealing with it, but dealing with it differently. So how you're going to deal with it is very much up to you. There directly is a block, and it's like a tsunami has hit. So you're in the eye of the storm, a tsunami's hit, and you've done a lot of soul growth and healing over a lot of old wounds and a lot of old blocks that you've had, and then your eyes are open and you're looking at a situation and you're going, it's like you had goggles on that were blacked out, and there were some aspects you physically didn't see because you were looking at it too closely. And now suddenly the glasses have come off, and the way you're looking at it is it's very challenging to look at the situation, because now it's like a tsunami's hit and you're looking at the mess and you're thinking, none of this is working. Something has to give. Although you know on the 3D you're feeling that certain things can't happen, you also know something has to happen. So where you're thinking it can't happen, this is what you've got to do. Because like when I was meditating on the zodiac signs, I usually can project forward up to 4 months. I don't like to go any further than that because energy's fluid. And again, you may find at times these energies you've already moved through, being that you're a more evolved soul, and that's fine. So some of these videos won't directly relate to you. That's when, if you're getting a block, it may be totally unrelated to this video. You would need to book a private reading to actually get help at where you're at, and you'll find next month's video will be where you were at last month. But then you can slow down again, and you know, so it goes in ebbs and flows. But a lot of Cancerians at the moment, it's like a tsunami's hit and you're looking at the aftermath, but you know in order to cope with situations, you've got to keep the cog and the wheel going, but the cog's really worn and it's really coming to a place where it's no longer fitting in staying the same, and it feels uncomfortable to change it, but you have already changed. Now, a lot of us were saying, why are we going over old ground? Why has this come back again? When I did a booking today, what I have noticed is there's a different energy coming through. It's actually not that you're going over old ground, although you are. It's that you're looking at it from an outsider's point of view. Now, you're looking at it, you were looking at it as to, I'll give you an example. Somebody did A, B, C, D to me, so that was them. And it's you giving your power away to the point where you're physically looking at their role in a situation. Now what's happening is you've done a 360, and because you've done an aspect of an awakening, you're having this realization that it all comes back to you. Now, when I say that, it's not that all of the onus is on you. It's that there is an aspect that you're having this realization that The clarity comes from within. You're also seeing that although people have done things to you, you did play a part in the dynamic in some shape or form. And that was about giving your power away and realizing that, you know, through this cycle of moons that's been coming through, it has taken our rose-colored glasses off. Yeah. Okay, so we've been then forced to stop and say, wow, part of that, had I not accepted that, had I worked on that and dealt with that in a different way, maybe I wouldn't be where I am now. Now, it's pointless getting angry at yourself, because it's almost like you don't have the energy now to get angry at yourself. And if you are, you're in that process, that's fine. Some of the energy for this month in the last 2 weeks has been very heavy, very, very angry and aggressive energy. And everybody around me has been experiencing an aspect of either a trigger in a sense of anger, or, you know, it may actually be outbursts or situations like that. The funny thing is, the way you're looking at it now, that will move. That energy is going to move. And when you come to that place, I'm feeling 1 to 2 weeks for those of you who are a bit further behind energetically, where it's really triggering you, but you're blocked and you're thinking, no, 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 no. So it's like you're moving in two directions. Spiritually speaking and emotionally speaking, you're seeing a situation more clearly. And it's an absolute eye-opener. You're like, wow, you know, this cannot keep going. But you feel you have to. So it's like you're jumping from the 5D, 3D, 5D, 3D. And a lot of people will be experiencing nausea, fatigue, through wanting to just, you know, really have that downtime. I mean, my process has been like that, but it's shifted. Mine's very much shifted. So now where emotionally there may be triggers, but the way you relate to it is almost like this very rigid energy of, you're already broken to a degree, so there's no aspect of crying or crying over spilt milk. It's like, wow. Jen loves it when I say that. And you just, it's like everything now on the 3D is visual for you to see. You have key point areas in life where you're visually looking at and saying, this is out of balance. Where am I giving too much energy to? Where am I not giving enough energy to? Where do I need me back? And how do I get this scale balanced? And look, last year very much I was referring to the scale. And again, it's about, you're not supposed to be perfect, but what's happened is by this purging, you've actually just showed yourself. You've showed your real core self. So your needs now are coming through. And people on the 3D are actually being quite triggered by that, because they're actually going through it themselves. So in a sense, have compassion to self. Also have compassion that what you're vibrationally feeling, trust me, on so many levels emotionally, and I'll say this, humanity is experiencing this. It is a shift. It's a very energetic shift on this occasion. You know, and I haven't ever really referred to it that way, but it's just the magnitude of the clientele coming through. Some of the friendships that obviously are dealing with triggers. Energetically, all of us as a whole are physically going through this, and it is a very testing energy. At the moment, you're feeling you're stuck, but you've actually given your power away. You've already stepped into your power, and that's peeving you off, because now you're realizing it all comes back to you. As much as you were feeling that there were solutions outside of yourself, you're now realizing that the solutions are within yourself, but you've put yourself on pause because you actually realize change is coming. And the frustrating thing is, you know that you're saying you have no power, yet the power's within you. It's just that you have to do some things that you're actually not going to like doing. And that is making you go back into your energy field of feeling imperfect, or that you couldn't save the world. And none of us were meant to save the world. Everything energetically that happens to us, be it triggers, be it people, be it scenarios, everything is there for the betterment. Even though at the time we directly feel it's not. It does, you know, when you come out of the storm, you see it in hindsight, but you never during the process do. So try and be gentle with yourself during this process. Okay, you are looking at situations and you're sort of feeling as though you have no power, but you do have power in the situation. you've taken your power back. So it's like I said, you're bouncing. You've taken the power back, and then you're going over old ground, and you're thinking, why do I keep coming back? Why do I keep getting to a point where I've ultimately made a decision, and then I do a 360, and it's like, no, retreat, retreat. A lot of the cards that I pulled in meditation were coming through like a lot of us have an internal war going on. So those of us who are purging, that is going to be relevant up until the second week of March. And again, the energy moving forward may be there too on a residue level, and it may be actually more dynamic. But when I did the meditation upon the months for the zodiacs, there is a trend, and there's a change of events that does come about. So although you're feeling situations aren't changing, direction for many is changing. And universe is taking over, as well as assisting us to move to a place where change is happening without us. With or without us, it's happening regardless. So we can either work with the energy we're receiving, and regardless with whether we are or aren't working with it, it does still feel energetically yucky. But it's because we have to let go of that baggage, and we need to show our authentic selves and come into our power physically. So it's a very nauseous-like feeling, a bit like you're being thrown out of an aeroplane and you haven't had, time to catch your bearings, or that you've been snorkeling and you've come up and a little bit too fast, and there's that adjustment factor inside of you. You're looking back, presently speaking, it may be you're looking back and you were hoping that a change was going to come about, but you're realizing that situation, it's not the solution now. You need to tackle it in a different way. It may be that you're placing too much power in the situation and feeling there's something you physically need to do to wait for everything to be perfect, but you're placing your life on hold while holding that energy. Yes, there is going with the flow, but you need to look at you. I've been saying this a lot lately, and I do feel this is directly relevant for March, is that look at your circle of concern, and that is directly you. So where you can actually get to a place where you say, okay, what do I need to worry about? That's a sense of self. That's the integrity to self. That's the self-love, the healing that you need to do, what you actually have responsibility for, deal with, what judgments and what situations you need to deal with. That's your bubble of concern. Where you're looking at an outsider and you're being either too compassionate or overcompensating or not having enough compassion for, directly speaking, you can relate, but energetically, external parties are going through the same energy as you. So it's pointless doing that. In order to ground yourself, you need to do that work. And then the external is going to directly mirror and relate to you better connected to that. Now, the reason this is coming up in a trigger point is that you don't want to hurt anyone, but you don't want to be hurt. So ultimately, you're feeling stuck. So you're pausing and you're thinking that is going to help you. Universe is going to take over. Universe is saying, no, you actually need to own your power, and it's overdue. It's really overdue, and you're feeling you have no power. The reality is you are feeling, if you use your power, it might become quite forceful, or a previous situation may be quite nasty in a sense of how it's going to transpire, but that's your fear, and that's based on a previous situation. So you need to look at that, heal it, and maybe it may be that you can't heal it, but you need to release it because it's holding you back. You're looking back on the past like it's barren land, and you're feeling as though it could have been better, it could have been fixed, or you're seeing the stagnation in the land connected to a past tense situation. And this could be, maybe an investment you had, this at a monetary level. It can be an investment you had in a partnership, family dynamic, or a group of people connected to work. This could be in every area of your life, where you're regressing back and you're looking at it, but you're actually not looking at the situation correctly. Now, again, for some of you, this could be directly connected to another Cancerian. This also could be connected to 4 individuals where, you had an emotional connection to them, I don't read the cards like a tarot reader. I am very much from an energetic download point of view, from a psychic point of view. And in this card, what's coming through, there's a crab. There's also the 4 cups, and the hue and the color of them is you're looking at it from a very different perspective now. You're very much looking at it where you invested in those situations. It may be those people, it may be love interests, it might be direct energies of where you placed love and pride into, but you're not getting a return on those things. or what you thought it would be, it simply hasn't turned out to be that, and it's very much upsetting you. So you're actually, it's like you paused and you're seeing something in the way you know you need to receive it, and that message is going to be different for all of you. I don't feel it's an angry energy when you have this realization. It's something that was already there, but you were trying to be quite protective. You were actually taking on an emotional responsibility, again, for other bubbles of concern, and, you know, overcompensating and feeling guilty. You also felt that you planted seeds and you nurtured them, but you haven't seen the fruits of your labor come through. But what's coming is, it's all okay. What I'm seeing is that you're stuck. You have been for a long time. You're doing some processing work. That is what will be coming into March. That may be mid-March. And by the end of it, you're in union. You're directly connecting with your spiritual core self, as well as you're back to who you need to be. You have a very clear direction. And this, again, may even be twin flame, soulmate, love connection. And it's almost, you have to go through that transition to actually get to that place where you can offer that. But until you're whole, you've put that on pause, right? And you're regressing back, and you're giving energy to people that aren't giving it back to you. And this person's waiting, but yes, I don't feel a pressure there. I'm going to pull a clarifier on it, but the main card is, look, you have power, but you're not using your power, and it's affecting everything around you. And it's because you had, you know, pain in the past. You had offered your love and people have betrayed you and people have let you down, or maybe you feel you did. But you're getting caught up in the past, and this is connected to 3 situations. This can be connected to betrayal, connected to cheating. But again, I don't really like to tune into those energies because we're all very, how do I put it? It's pointless going back over old ground. That's the way I look at it, because that's living in the past. And I do feel you're energetically, you hung around to process that, but you've been way too much in that energy of processing your past life, that you haven't been in the moment. Well, you have been, but for some reason you keep punishing yourself and taking yourself back there, and it's just wasted energy. And I feel again, and like I said, I don't read the cards, you know, the way everyone reads them. This is my energy download of what I'm receiving from an image point of view and from my third eye. In this card, there's the people that you invested in that you love so dearly. Now, this could be children, this could be love interests, it could be, you know, external situations, things you invested in. You're very calmly looking at it, and there's a dead harvest, and it's, you have not reaped anything out of that you're feeling. This could have started around Christmas, where you started to see the realization, and you were like, well, do I keep planting dead seeds? Do I keep investing in situations that are not bearing labor? Why am I investing in incorrect things? And it's like you've got the spade and you're looking at it and saying, well, it's appearing there is a benefit in it, but do I bury this tree? Do I bury these things that don't, do I bother replanting when I'm getting a barren tree? Does that make sense? You're meditating on it. You've also got several paths that you want to go down, but none of them are you, and you're angry about that. But you know, every path you choose is you. You don't realize that. Even if you're investing time and it's taking time from you, again, you're choosing to do that, so you directly have a power in that. Everything you touch, everything you deal with, everything you directly relate to is a choice. So in choosing that, the only person you can be angry at is self. And that's really harsh, but it's what I've learned, and it's yuck. So I'm really sorry. So what you're peeved about is the fact that you're saying, I feel like this emotion is burying me, and I've invested in these situations, but I chose to do that. So if you're getting angry at people around you, you're actually not angry at people around you. You're really, really angry at yourself, because you've almost, and this is very interesting for codependency. And when I say this is because I can relate to this in a sense. Sometimes when I was going through an aspect of growth, I would directly be helping and enabling and assisting, and I would get energetically angry. And then I realized it was an aspect of codependency in myself, where I was addicted to helping, because that was almost like stroking my ego, saying, you're helping, oh good girl. And I know that sounds really silly, but it's something where you've physically given energy to that, yet you're mad that you haven't had a return on it. But you know, you chose to do that. So physically you're stating you're angry at directions, but you're actually, it's a 360. You're angry at you because you've done something, and you're saying, well, I do really need to look at this correctly now. I'm looking at it from my perspective of what part I played in this, and that's why you're cross and you're mad at yourself. But you're coming into your own personal energy and own power through going through this, where you will be able to offer something in a more stable setting. And there will be a harvest. You will have all the tools, and you do. And you will be turning your back on a situation, you know, for a brighter future, and realizing what you need to turn away from and what you need to turn towards. That's your clarity. And that's through this process of you physically feeling you're in limbo and you're placing yourself there. You know, that you're pining over these situations that were past tense, but really they are currently here right now. So this may be, you know, energies where you're spreading your life too thin. There could be karmic situations. There could be child-related situations. This doesn't have to be a situation where there's cheating. And you're best not to tune into that energy, because you can co-create. And I'm not feeling that energy at all. It just feels like too many people are needing on you, but you're allowing and enabling that situation, and you're just pausing, saying, well, shit's going to hit the fan, so I might as well just stay in that energy and maintain that, even though it's a bad cog in the wheel and you're in the middle of it. So you're that cog in the middle, and you're doing all of this, yet you know, vibrationally speaking, for the road you're going down, it's not relevant to the road you're going down. So you're wondering why you're actually doing it. And you know you're going to have to walk away from that way of doing things and relating, because it is no longer working for your path. Okay, what you invested in, you've had a realization. Sowing wrong crops, well, in your opinion, that's how you feel. Also, that the burden, although there may be harvests and you're spreading yourself too fine, you're burying yourself in the emotion, and you're wondering whether the amount of work you're putting into it is even worth your health. I'm hearing, because it's impacting your health, where it's really pushing you down. You're wanting to move towards a whole way of being, but you know, sometimes you're feeling it's just a drain. But it is towards a person or a thing that you're wanting, that you love, and it is boding well. And it's part of your destiny, it's part of your DNA to be in this connection. And again, I'm feeling twin flame connection. Now, you do want to step into your power, be it masculine or feminine. It might be the area I'm feeling for those of you who are twin, it might be balancing that masculine energy somehow, or unblocking that masculine energy, because we hold both. And you are fearing that someone is actually going to take your prize that you're working towards. But that's again a block, and it can be ego. Okay. Okay, you're coming out of an aspect of feeling that you're at war with yourself. But the person or the area you're wanting to move towards, be it coupled or single, you know, they're thinking there's no surprises coming. They actually have foresight connected to what's coming. They're waiting for you emotionally and physically to catch up. So they have the intuition connected to it. So for them, what is transpiring is not going to be a surprise to them. Now, you are waiting. Again, it came through, and you know, sort of like you're in the hanged man, and I don't feel it's hermit mode. I do feel in aspects it is, but I feel as though you're very much, you know, you're waiting for all the pieces of the puzzle to come together, but you're making that happen. You have energy in that. You know, you're not stepping into your power where you're feeling your higher self, because you've got this card in reverse. You're not also seeing the gifts in the situation, nor are you feeling hopeful or joyful connected to it. So the answer has to be, why you're doing it. Let's find out why you're doing it and what the outcome will be. I think it's an aspect of your shadow self as well. You do have a guide, and you're balancing an aspect of karma. And again, it is connected for some of you to twin flame. Okay, why are you doing it? It's because you're trying to be adult about it. You've got young woman in reverse, male or female. The energy is the maturity aspect. You're trying to be mature, but you can't be the only mature person or aspect in it, because I feel directly there's external, but that's why you're doing it, so I understand. And you're trying to avert disaster, but you're fearing it so you can manifest and co-create it, because shapeshifter situation's coming out, right? Where you're fearing it. But there's no room the way you're doing things. You know, so you're watering an aspect of your fear. You're actually feeding it. But you do know there will be an ending to a way you're doing something. And it's funny that these cards are coming through, because the notes I wrote are very much relevant to this. You're going to have to turn your back on something. Yes, they have been burdens, but they're burdens you're going to have to turn your back on. And then there is hope. You're moving forward. And you reach the 10 of Cups. Okay? How are we all anyway? Are we delighted in the February energy? At least you had your bourbon and Coke. I know you're in there, Jen. It's so sad. We have so many private jokes between us. I think she knows me too well. Now, okay, what's the other energy? You definitely have come to a place where you've got crossroads. You're trying to delay on that, and you know it's coming, and it's really sending you into an agitation mode. You know, the connections you have, this is external and internal. There are blocks. You've got your wants and needs, but it's the communication and the connections to all these scenarios. They're actually directly impacting your life. But there is going to be communication. There is also this aspect where you're being your worst enemy connected to an issue, and there is a death in the situation, an ending of a way of relating or doing something. As well as, you know, you're wanting something that you're passionate about. This can be a direct person, or it can be physically you moving towards something that you're passionate about. But I think it's both. There has been sorrow around you, and there can be some health concerns. But again, I feel this is directly connected to what's going on and you not balancing your energy. You need to clear your space and clear your mind, and realize that the war is within, it's not without. And by having that clarity, you know, through a separation, and I don't feel this is a permanent separation, for some aspects of life perhaps, but in others it feels more an aspect of gaining clarity through stepping back and maybe having that, you know, mental thought process to actually come to that realization of what you actually physically need to do. And then there is reunion coming, you know, where you're coming back to your whole self, as well as for some of you, this could be a connection to twin flame. It could be a direct connection to you coming home inside yourself and moving towards a happier life. So I'm going to leave it at that. And this is where I'm going to do them this month. I'll see how it goes. I may actually do a mid-month. I'm unsure, but we'll see how it goes. But alone this month, I will be doing these. Just jump on the website. I've blocked out a few days, and that's so I can get these recordings done. And due to the fact February has been very heavy energy, I've been going through the same as what you guys have been going through. So just, I feel like a circus clown. I'm juggling all these situations. So I think there is about the 5th or the 6th, there is there's openings, but have a look on the website. And if it's an emergency, you know, and I do have time, just message me in the website and I can actually try and fit you in. Try not to tune into what another person's doing energetically, because it's a fear and a trigger directly connected to self. So if you're thinking they're going back, always look at everything as a blessing. If they are going back, it's because they haven't learned something and they need to. So just release it, stay in your power, and, you know, try and keep yourself grounded. Any other questions? Most welcome. No questions before I abandon ship? Very much for the next few months. Is anyone coming for you? You've got a few blocks there at the moment. I do feel a connection to a person, but at the moment there's been, I think, family-related issues, or you're healing. You're still unsure. You're still not quite there. But I feel it's a vibrational thing of like the laws of attraction sort of thing, if that makes sense. Yeah, try not to tune into it more. And a lot of people at the moment are coming out of that phase where we're gaining clarity, and that's February's really pushed that. You can't get rid of the heavy feelings, Shirley. You've got to move through it. It is temporary. It's like we're on this massive roller coaster through, you know, we've been experiencing nausea, and I've done some other videos on it, so have a look at them. Look at the Dark Night of the Soul video, because that'll be relevant. You know, every one of us is purging, and it's similar to an aspect of the Dark Night of the Soul. So have a look at it and see, you know, some of the content I've placed in there, because that may help you. Otherwise, book a reading and I can work with your energy. Okay, income improvements for all will start moving in the next few months. There had been a pause in February because we were doing a lot of purging, and it felt like 2017 chucked into 1 month, personally speaking. Any other questions? No questions? Yeah, so money is boding better. You are becoming more serious. Cancer is definitely becoming more serious when it's connected to cash and responsibility, and, you know, the way they're looking at their life. They've gained a lot of clarity last month, and probably moving from Christmas onwards, a lot of us were really doing work internally, and this shift has been like a wave from Christmas onwards. Because we were very much stepping into our power, but it was a very unique way of directly relating to us as a whole. Yet we were in there. It was just we weren't respecting self to be self. So now it's almost like energetically we can't live in that shell because it wasn't real. It was a facade. And now we're showing our authentic selves. And some of us may be saying we don't know who we are. Who you are while you're doing that is who you are, and that's okay. You're just not used to that, so you're adjusting as well as the external is, and it's like, well, they just need to accept it. This is you. You just were too fair. You were too kind and too giving, and all of us are going through that, so be gentle on yourselves. Any other questions? Nope. If you've done enough purging, Maureen, I do feel yes. A lot of it is about healing and stepping into your power. Try to be considerate to yourself. Try to have empathy for self, because if you can't for self, you can't for others. Keep the balance. And look, sometimes you might feel you're out of sync. Listen to some vibrational tunes connected to your chakra, connected to settings of frequencies, and they'll come up with names, and that will help you realign when you're really feeling out of sync. Oh, you win on your court case. That's a 50-50, that one. Yeah, I'm not picking anything, sorry. I don't know why. It might be adjourned or something might go, I don't know. It just feels this strange energy. Any other questions? One more question before I go. Oh, yeah, it may be a lot. I can see like a delay of paperwork or a delay of date or something to that degree. So if that's directly relevant to it, yeah. You won't need to know what star sign your twin flame is. You may already know them. That's what I'm feeling. It's quite interesting when you say, I might meet my twin flame. Don't go looking for it. Be authentically self. That comes to you when it's needed. It's not the most precious, well, it is a precious journey, but it's, yeah, it's work. So if you've done purging, you'll be ready for it. But you'll still do more purging. Okay, everyone. So I will see you later. And if you're wanting a booking, there will be the link directly below. Anyway, look after yourselves. Enjoy next month. Bye.